What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including The Rock to return and win the Royal Rumble, Eric Young to return to WWE, the real reason why Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens have backstage heat, new WWE titles debuting, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and a non-wrestling channel, Incredible. And now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at The Rock returning to WWE to win the Royal Rumble. Our top story today looks ahead at the 2023 Royal Rumble and a huge return that could be taking place at the event. The Rumble is WWE's next premium live event offering, and there are rumors of several returns taking place on the show, including the likes of Cody, Rhodes, and even Randy Orton. One other return that fans are holding out hope for is The Rock, and according to a brand new report, this could be happening. According to Dave Meltzer in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE have internal discussion to have The Rock return at the Rumble and win the entire match. This all depends on The Rock's schedule, but The Rock vs Roman Reigns has been rumored for WrestleMania 39 for some time now. The Rock returning would bring a ton of eyes onto the WWE product, as The Rock is one of the biggest names not just in WWE but in pop culture, and the match with Reigns is without a doubt a certified dream match. If The Rock vs Reigns is planned for WrestleMania in April, this means that WWE have planned out Reigns' path to WrestleMania. It's been reported that Reigns will take on Kevin Owens at the Rumble itself, then at the Elimination Chamber event in Canada, Reigns will take on Sami Zayn. Would you guys like to see The Rock return at the Rumble and win the whole thing? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Eric Young returning to WWE. Speaking of returns, The Rock may not be the only star returning to WWE, as it was reported late last night that Eric Young is returning. This news comes from PW Insider, who stated former Impact Wrestling champion Eric Young, 42, is returning to World Wrestling Entertainment. PWInsider.com has confirmed with multiple sources. There is no word yet when Young will start with WWE. Obviously, Paul Levesque's rise to power within WWE set the stage for Young's return, as he was the person who initially brought Young into WWE NXT. Young was previously in WWE and found great success as part of Sanity in NXT. However, when Young alongside Sanity were called up to the main roster, they were quickly buried, and Young never got a fair shot. Young until last night was an active member of the Impact Wrestling roster, but in bizarre fashion, Impact delivered an angle which involved Young getting murdered. This evidently opens the door for Young to return to Triple H's creative vision, and it'll be interesting to see just how Young will be used in this second run, especially after coming back from the dead. The Game was a huge fan of what Young brought to the table, and there's already rumors circulating on social media that Triple H may be reuniting the popular Sanity stable. Next up, how William Regal is able to return to WWE. When news broke yesterday in relation to William Regal's impending WWE return, fans were shocked. They were under the impression that Regal was under AEW contract and there was no legal way for Regal to jump ship to WWE. However, Dave Meltzer in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter has offered some much needed insight. Multiple WWE sources said that Regal had an out clause in his contract. Actually, the returning to WWE is basically a given at this point, whether it was a short-term deal or Tony Khan letting him out of his deal out of respect for him. Going around wrestling as to what happened, but the short-term deal is a primary source story. Regal was written off AEW TV this week when he was attacked by MJF. Where this leaves Regal's storyline, such as his work with the Blackpool Combat Club, remains unknown. Meltzer states that Regal's departure has led to several AEW talent questioning Tony Khan's booking. Khan devoted a ton of effort into Regal and MJF's storyline and angle, only for it to abruptly end in a rather flat manner. When Regal does return to WWE, it seems logical that it will transition back into his former role behind the scenes, but it'll also be welcome to see Regal become an on-air authority figure of either Raw or SmackDown. Are you guys excited to see Regal back in WWE? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, the real reason Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens have heat. Now, at the start of the week, reports indicated that Roman Reigns was visibly upset with Kevin Owens due to an unplanned spot in their War Games encounter. It was believed that the spot in question was when Owens slapped him, and this resulted in Reigns suffering a ruptured eardrum. Whilst it was reported that Reigns and Owens resolved things, Dave Meltzer has stated that things aren't that simple. Writing in the Wrestling Observer, Meltzer revealed Reigns was furious backstage and went off on Owens, with swearing and such. According to numerous sources, Reigns was mad both because of the injury, but also because it wasn't a spot he had known about and felt it didn't make sense to do it in a match. Some said it happened, Reigns was obviously furious, but it largely blew over by 20 minutes later. Others said that wasn't accurate in the sense it wasn't completely blown over, that Reigns was upset, but it's not like they are changing any plans in booking or he won't work with Owens or there'll be any punishment or anything like that. Reigns doesn't seem like the type of wrestler to get creative plans changed, so it looks like Reigns vs Owens is still WWE's creative plan for the Royal Rumble in January. Next up, WWE debuting new tag team titles. WWE could be set to debut brand new versions of the tag titles. This news comes from the reliable belt fan Dan on Twitter, who tweeted, "For people asking about the Zero News article, I was told the same thing almost word for word a few days ago but could not find anyone to confirm. Roman presenting the Usos the new black unified tag belts on Raw in the next few weeks. The Usos are set to defend the titles against Matt Riddle and Elias on Raw, so it makes sense that the presentation will come shortly after this. It also looks like the WWE are keeping the tag titles unified for the time being, whilst the status of the two unified world titles remains up in the air. There were initial reports that Triple H wanted to find a way for Reigns to lose one of his world titles, but it looks like WWE have abandoned this idea for the time being. Next up, CM Punk ready to move on. Now, the saga between CM Punk and AEW may finally be coming to an end, as a new report has stated that Punk is ready to move on and subsequently leave AEW behind. Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter states that Punk is still getting paid by AEW, but that Punk is simply ready to move on to his next project. Meltzer didn't elaborate what his next project involves or if it relates to pro wrestling. Punk has been delivering MMA commentary over the past month, and this seemingly is something that Punk really enjoys. The rumors circulating surrounding Punk returning to WWE have died down, so it looks like that's no longer an option, and Punk may simply be distancing himself from pro wrestling altogether. And finally, Cody Rhodes ready to return. Our final story today shares some positive news relating to Cody Rhodes. The WWE star and former AEW executive is seemingly ready to return to the ring. According to Dave Meltzer in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer, Rhodes is back to normal and is able to train with no problems. Meltzer also states that Rhodes is the thickest he's ever been from a muscle perspective, so it looks like Rhodes is ready to finally return to WWE. Meltzer added, "Cody Rhodes' recovery is going well. He's been working heavily with top-level trainers to put on size and strength and hit 240 pounds legit, which may be the thickest he's been in his life. He's back to normal when it comes to his ability to train and left. No word when he'll return, given it makes sense for it to be a surprise. Rhodes was injured back in the summer when he tore his pec. Him returning at the Rumble has been heavily rumoured for months, and he was even the favourite to win the Rumble at one point in time. It's unclear what Rhodes' creative direction will be for WrestleMania, but you must assume if Roman Reigns is going to face The Rock, then Rhodes may face his arch rival, that being Seth Rollins, in a grudge match." But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumours you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.